Here to tell us more about the next play in college theater season is the director of the show, Daniel Millhouse. Welcome, Daniel.
Hello. Hi, Diana.
So are we going to let the cat out of the bag of what just happened? Because this is a pretty good story.
Oh, which cat?
The cat.
Or which dog?
He is directing The Curious Incident of the Dog of the Night.
Yes.
And the show's going to open
March 2nd. March 2nd through March 19th.
And what happened this weekend?
We had our lead actor, unfortunately, had to drop out of the show, so we had to recast.
And that's real live theater.
That's real live theater right there, yeah.
That's what happens.
I mean, it was
a shock.
I mean, I think I got the email read at 7 o'clock at night on Sunday, and our first rehearsal is yesterday, Monday. And so it was like scrambling to figure all that out. Yeah, but we got someone within the cast to step in. They read it last night. It was their first time reading the script. I'm hopeful. He's really excited. He's really fun to work with. He's really engaged and
awesome.
Really excited.
But you know, that's life in the theater.
Yeah.
As a director,
and
things
the
happen.
other positive thing was, you know, because we had to shift some things, an actor we couldn't cast, I was able to call up to replace the actor that got moved up, and he was also thrilled because, you know, it's a puzzle. Casting these shows is a puzzle because you're dealing with actors' conflicts. That's like the biggest issue, is dealing with people who are missing weeks at a time.
Well, and somebody might be a phenomenal actor, but they're too tall, or they're too short, or they're not the right type, or they're.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's a lot our students sometimes miss, or even actors, professional actors miss sometimes, that it is such a puzzle. Conflicts. How do they look? How do they sound with the other actors?
Right.
Like we were just talking right before, like, you know, if I had an actor who's 6'5", but his dad is, you know, 4'3", is that going to pull, we have to ask ourselves.
It's distracting.
What's going to pull an audience? What's going to distract them? Yeah. What's going to best tell the story we're trying to tell?
I used to say when I directed, by the time you're done with your final callbacks, in most cases, to me, the show casts itself, because the chemistry and the puzzle pieces all fall into place.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need a screwdriver, and sometimes you need a hammer, and sometimes you need and it's not that you're good or bad or your choice. It's just this works better with this.
And sometimes you can't even explain it outside of that. It's just that was it.
Yeah.
Their connection, their chemistry. You reminded me of Christoph Waltz in an interview. Talks about how all acting is casting. You can cast a phenomenal actor, but if you miscast them
in the wrong part, forget it.
Yeah, it can be a terrible
mess.
experience. Yeah.
So tell us about the show. So the story and what you like about the story.
I have to make sure I don't give away any spoilers,
right?
Because there's a lot of twists and turns in this one. But the general story is it's about Christopher, who's a 15-year-old boy who is on the spectrum. He's autistic, and he discovers right at the top of the play a dead dog. That dog has been murdered with a garden fork. And so he goes out and decides to solve the mystery of who killed the dog. And so he, you know, it's coming of age story. What I really love about the play is, to me, it's really about growing up, and it's about acceptance and kind of learning how it's our experiences that make us who we are, and going out of our comfort zone and dealing with our own interferences is where true change and growth can happen. Frightening.
Yeah.
But there's stuff that can come from that.
So I love the fact that we're doing a show about someone who is neurodivergent, and how does that impact the way you direct the show? You know, you have to be sensitive that you're not overdoing it or being true, right? Yeah,
so coincidentally, I had the opportunity just on Sunday, the same day I found out about the actor. Sunday, I had the pleasure of meeting with some special education teachers and therapists to talk about this, because you know, there's a lot of terminology, and I wanted to make sure I'm not starting from scratch, right? And I wanted to come in with talking to the cast about, this is the type of terminology we're looking at using. Not an expert at all. I'm learning, right?
Sure.
And so the biggest thing that I had learned in terms of terminology is I've chosen for within our room, our environment, is to use identity first, meaning rather than saying, it would be saying I'm autistic versus person first, which is I have autism, right? So they're the two kind of both in the field. From what I was told, neither is necessarily right or wrong, it goes to the same as like sexual preference, sexual gender right now, gender pronouns. So for this production, we're trying to use the language identity first. So Christopher is autistic rather than Christopher has autism. So that it's who he is, not something that he has, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's one thing that I had learned in working on that. Through meeting with them, I also learned about domains, how people are tested to see whether they have autism or are autistic. And the 3 domains are language, social cues, and it was something to do with physicality.
Reactions to things?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Of course, now I'm on the spot.
That's
now
okay.
All these
of
things
course.
go. So forgive me.
But
if,
it's interesting.
wrong.
It's interesting. I think I love that the play, that the lead is someone who is autistic, right? And that he wins in the end, right? You know, and I think that a lot of people, well, and I think the world is changing though, but there's so many people who are on the spectrum from all different reasons who are extremely talented or extremely intelligent or extremely, you know, I've just found out that Andy Warhol was probably had some sort of neurodivergency, and I'm like, well, that makes sense because he was so quiet and so shy and, you know, out in public, but in his family he was a little bit more comfortable and but he was kind of one-worded and didn't do well in social situations, made him nervous, right? It was just certain things. But I think that doing a story like this gives place and elevates, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it shows we're all human.
Right.
We're all people.
Yeah, we all have our challenges.
We all
have our obstacles.
challenges, and it's all kind of. This play deals a lot with sensory, and I find it interesting you brought up Warhol, different in, you know, the public scene versus parent scene, because it's different, probably sensory that he's dealing with. And like, you know, Christopher deals with, there's sensory when he can get overwhelmed, right? And that causes him to panic and, you know, have to try and calm himself down, versus there's also some physical things he has, which is called, I believe, stimming. I could be wrong, so forgive me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it's stimulating for them physically, because this is a sensory that allows autistics to focus more. So it's like flip sides of the same coin.
Well, I'm anxious to see the show more than ever.
Oh, good.
And we're going to root on your lead, whoever it is.
He's going to be great.
He is going to be great.
Alex,
And you know what? To me, whoever ends up in the role always is who was meant to be in that role.
I love that.
It always works out.
Yeah.
The people who are meant to be there will be there on opening night.
Yeah.
Right?
Serendipity.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, Daniel, we wish you the best, and I'll be there rooting you on opening night and your lead.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Be sure to catch College Theater's production of Curious Incident opening March 2nd. For tickets or more information, please visit atthemac.org.